Hi and welcome to Vlogmas day 6, and first I'm going to do my advent calendar. I think this one's 9, not 6. I think that one's 6. Just because of the way, when I opened the box, I know from other vloggers that 6 and 9 can get confused, but this was put in the box this way up, the number 6. So I kind of scribbled a line underneath it and remembered that this one was 6. So hopefully if you've got the same calendar, you're not going to get a spoiler for day 9 if I'm opening the wrong one. Oh, I didn't guess what it was going to be. I didn't try and guess what it was going to be, but I think I could have guessed what it was going to be. It's a coaster which says, "Go away, I'm sewing." Unless you're bringing me a coffee, of course. In which case you can come in for a very short time and then leave. Well, that's brilliant. I like that. That will be going in my sewing room. A quick update on the knitting. So I've added a few more rows. So it's looking pretty long now, actually. I'm pretty impressed with how much I got done yesterday after we'd been out for dinner. So we had a lovely dinner, and I would recommend, if you like pub food, definitely recommend the Dirty Bottles if you come to Alnwick. We've eaten there twice and we really enjoyed both times. So, and it was very, very popular. So if you do come, then maybe book ahead. Now, the only thing about my knitting that I would say is down at the bottom, it's a little bit looser and I've gone a little bit tighter at the top. Now, I was trying to knit a little bit looser here because I'd noticed it had gone maybe a bit tighter. Now, it's not perfect, although I haven't got any holes in it yet. But if I think back to when I first started sewing, I definitely didn't have any perfect garments, you know, they're all work in progress. So yeah, for my very first knitting project, I'm pretty happy with how that's gone so far. And I'm coming up to using the end of the ball, so of wool. So I'm going to have to make a decision about what colour I'm going to use, whether I'm going to stick with the grey or change to the pink. And I'm going to have to get my head around how to change the ball of wool. So today we went to Holy Island, and I have been really interested in Holy Island because I studied linguistics at university, and one of the modules that I took was Old English, and in that module we learned about the importance of Holy Island and the Lindisfarne Gospels in the history of the language, because it's the oldest surviving manuscript of English, which was a translation of the Gospels of the Bible from Latin. Ever since I've heard the story about Holy Island and the manuscripts, I've really wanted to go to the island to see it for myself. So it was one of those things that I have been wanting to do for a very long time. Now, the tide times, you can only get across to the island at low tide. So the tide times today were, the last crossing was at 11:25 a.m. and then you can't cross until about 4:30. So we were considering whether to go across and spend the afternoon there, or to go across early morning and then come back before the last crossing time at 11:25. And we decided to do the latter and to visit early in the morning. Now, we know because it's winter and because of the crossing times, that there wasn't going to be very much open on the island. And we talked to somebody at Parkrun who told us that they'd expected things to be open, but when they went across and were there during high tide, he told us that a lot of things were closed. So we decided we wanted to see it in the light. So we got up early this morning and we travelled over to Holy Island at 8:30. We arrived and we spent a couple of hours there, and we had a little walk around the island. We didn't do the full coastal path. It was a little bit too windy to do the whole coastal path, but we went and had a walk up to the castle, and then to the little garden near the castle, and we also went to the priory, and then we went for a coffee in the cafe next to the post office. And it was a little bit more built up than what I had expected. You can even stay on the island if you wanted to, which really surprised me. I thought there would be literally an old church and that was it, but yeah, there were quite a few houses on the island, and I'm sure it's absolutely glorious in the summer. We really want to come back to visit Northumberland in the summertime when the weather's a little bit nicer. So while we're on the island, I just really appreciated being on there. And no, it was really, really cold, and my fingers were so cold, so I could only record like tiny little snippets. But I had to capture the moment when we were walking up to the castle, because I was just absolutely overcome with emotion and gratitude for that moment. And I'll put in some of the footage. So I've got some footage of when we go over the crossing on the way there. I'm driving, but Ben took the footage for me. So we're just coming to the Holy Island Causeway. And it's 8:30 in the morning, so it's just light. So I think this is the centre of the village. The post office is just that way, and there's a sign here which tells us the priory is that way and the castle is this way. Castle down there. Here's the Lindisfarne Priory. This building was constructed in 1150, but there was a church here long before that, where the Saint Cuthbert was buried in 687. To just capture this moment. It was just absolutely perfect. It's so beautiful here. All you can hear are the waves on the sea, and it's just gorgeous to look at, and we're just appreciating the beauty of Holy Island. We actually are glad we've come at this time of year in the morning, so you get to see this. Hope you've enjoyed seeing some of our travels this morning. When we got back, we went and had lunch at the fish and chip restaurant in the centre of Alnwick, and that was beautiful. So we've had fish and chips. And the plan for the rest of the day is, well, I normally do Pilates on Tuesday at 5:15 to 6:15, and I'm planning to do Pilates. I like to keep my little routine where I can. So I've been doing Pilates now for about 2.5 years, and in that 2.5 years I've really noticed an improvement in how I can do the movements, and it's really good for stretching and for working your core. So sometimes I find it a little bit boring, to be honest. Like, it's a full hour, and I think 3/4 of an hour would be perfect, but always pleased when I've done it. Ben does it with me sometimes, but you know, just depending on how he's feeling. I might record myself doing my Pilates class and put it on a fast forward. So if I do, I'll insert that now. And I just wanted to say a huge thanks to everybody who's commented on my vlogs. I woke up to some lovely comments, and every single one of your comments I really do appreciate, and it makes this like all worthwhile. I am really enjoying recording my holiday, and I said to my husband last night, actually it's like a record, but you know, we've got this to look back on in years to come. And yeah, he said he'd not thought about it like that. And he's been very supportive of my channel and me recording while we're away. So yeah, huge thank you to Ben for that. And talking about Ben and his shirt, so he wore his shirt last night when we went for dinner, and he did say it fits him nicely. Now, he did say for future there are a few tweaks that would just make the shirt fit a little bit more comfortably, and he said he was really apologetic to say it, and he said, oh, I know I'm being really fussy, but I reassured him that this is the beauty of when you get clothes made for you, is you can be fussy and you can adapt the pattern to suit exactly what you want. And because it was a surprise, I couldn't take his measurements or check how he wanted it to fit. He feels like it's a little bit tight under his arms. So I'm just going to widen from the seam under the arm to the other seam, and I'm also going to just lengthen the arm side just a little bit more. I did lengthen it, but it probably needs just a little bit extra, just to make it fit a little bit more comfortably under the arm. And the other thing that he said he would perhaps want me to tweak next time is where the collar sits at the back. So he feels like it sits a little bit too low on his neck. He'd prefer the collar stand to finish a little bit higher up. So next time I'm just going to redraft the yoke piece to sit up a little bit higher at the back. So those are a couple of tweaks that I'm going to make to that pattern just to make it fit Ben more comfortably. I don't know whether actually it's a little bit too long, but he said he probably would just keep it the length it is. The other thing that I think, and he's not mentioned this to me, is I would just bring the pocket down slightly next time. So maybe about 1 inch. I probably won't take the pocket off because I've done the reinforced corners, but yeah, that's another thing for next time. So I did say that I would make him another one. It's so much easier when you've already got the pattern. He is hoping that I will make him jeans next year. I've told him not to expect that because he's got quite narrow hips and a flat bottom, so he would like me to do some jeans for him too at some point, but we'll see about that. Thank you for joining me for day 6 of Vlogmas. Again, thank you to everybody who's watching, commenting and liking my vlogs. It means the world to me, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 7. Bye!